well, it's me, AF and Explorer. So, it's been a while since I've done any videos, especially with exploring and that. I mean, life, the universe, and everything gets in the way, unfortunately, sometimes. And I currently have no car because Mr. Parcel Force delivery driver decided to give my car a facelift with his van and take pretty much the front end of it off. And I'm currently waiting for them to deal with that so I can get back on the road. So what we're doing? Well, today I am going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, I play a fair bit of D&D. Mark does too, and it's something I really enjoy. And big resurgence in it recently, especially with like the likes of Stranger Things and Critical Role and stuff like that online. So a lot more people are getting more interested in playing it. So I'm going to talk you through what I believe are possibly the main player essentials you are going to need as a player, and then we're going to go into essentials needed as a dungeon master, because I play and I DM as well, so I've got experience in both. Not masses, I mean, I've only been DMing like a year, but you learn a lot very quickly. So let's delve into this. So, player essentials. Number one on this list, one of the main things, well, probably the main thing you will need as a player playing Dungeons and Dragons is this: the Player's Handbook. This is essentially your Bible. It contains everything in it, from races to classes, subclasses, spells, items. There's even bestiary in there for animals as well. Everything as a player to start playing, the basics you need to play. Saying that, to supplement that, to go with that, there are two other books I highly recommend as a player because they expand on the core that's in there for your classes, your races, etc. So, literally, we have Xanathar's Guide to Everything. This adds more subclasses for the classes in there, more feats and extras, and the same with Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. Again, this expands on a lot of things. I mean, Tasha's, for example, gives you a lot more subclasses, and actually gives you the Artificer class, which is where this first appears in. The Artificer, it's a love-hate relationship with that class. On that one, we'll go into that one on a later date. But yeah, I mean, for example, on this gives you Phantom and the Soul Knife optional classes for the Rogue. Loads of different stuff. Also patrons. Tasha's literally has so much in there, and they're handy as a dungeon master as well. So literally, Player's Handbook is most essential. Tash and Xanathar's are two others I really do recommend getting hold of. Xanathar's is a bit harder to get hold of because it is actually out of print, but Tasha's you can pick up secondhand. I mean, I got lucky. I got Xanathar's for about £25 on eBay, and Tasha's I got in a bundle of books I bought off someone on Facebook Marketplace. So it's worth shopping around. I mean, especially with the new edition of D&D out. I say out, 2/3 of it are out. The old people will be gradually moving towards that, so the older 5e stuff will hopefully be cheaper. In theory, that's my plan. So, next up, as a player, you got to make a character. You need character sheets, which you can buy in a set. And, good old character sheets. If you're going old school and doing it all pen and paper character sheets, they are your way. There are tools out there So you have got D&D Beyond out there, which is Wizards of the Coast, Hasbro's official Dungeons and Dragons app companion for making characters, leveling up, following all up. Now, the issue I have with that is you are literally restricted to the basic rules on that on a free account. If you want to expand them more, you have to then digitally buy the player's handbook from D&D Beyond, Xanathar's through D&D Beyond, Tasha's through D&D Beyond. It all adds up costing money. I mean, I personally think it is ridiculous, given I own a lot of books. If you physically own a book, why do I have to pay again? But you know, that's a story for another day. So instead of D&D Beyond, I actually use an app called Fight Club 5e. Now, it is free, but the free version you can only make one character on there. But to buy the full app, where you can make as many characters as you want, it is literally like £2. Now, the thing with Fight Club is you need to download a compendium which has essentially all your rules loaded into the game for the game that you load into Fight Club, so you've got that rules reference there for everything. So luckily you can find them for free. There's a guy called the Archivist, Fight Club Archivist, and you can get the compendiums from him and load them into Fight Club. But Fight Club is really good. I really do enjoy it, because if it doesn't exist as like a homebrew sort of thing, you can add it in there. You can add whatever you want into it, add things into your compendium, and it's brilliant. And customization is actually really good. It's a bit more advanced than D&D Beyond, but it works. But then if you're old school and that character sheet, rule books, there you go. I just personally prefer having it all on my tablet there, boom, 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 and I can look everything up I need to there and then, and it's really good. So, I mean, I'll give you an overview of Fight Club in a later video and go through that with you. So, of course, how are we going to play this game? Well, of course, one of the main things you do need in this game is dice. This is where the Dice Goblin gets you. I started off playing like 3 sets of dice. Yeah, that's all I'm ever going to need. No. You end up with more dice than you can shake a stick at. And this is literally just a few of my dice. So, yeah. But luckily where I play at Geek Retreat, my mate's Geek Retreat in Addleston, they sell the mystery dice bags. So for like, I think it's like £7, randomly pick a blind bag, boom, you end up with all manner of different dice. I mean, that's a mystery dice one. I mean, pretty much all my dice are mystery dice bag ones. So that's not too bad. I mean, £7 for a set of dice. But also, Temu is dangerous for D&D stuff, dice, etc. Because you can pick up like sets of dice for like a couple of quid on there. You just got to wait for it to turn up from China. But, I mean, of course you've got to keep your dice inside. That dice case, that was a Temu special. That was about £12, I think. Yeah, about £12 I paid for that. So, yeah. So, of course, playing D&D, you are going to be rolling a lot of dice. Okay, cool. We're going to be rolling lots and lots of dice. Don't want all these dice flying all over the table, especially if you're in the middle of combat. You've got a big map, there's a big battle map out and loads of miniatures on the table, dice flying around, knocking things out the air. I've done that numerous times playing 40k and Blood Bowl, which is why I tend to use this. So a dice tray is a good option. I mean, this is your bog standard dice tray. I mean, it's like felt lined, and so they flatten it. These ones flatten out like this. You can pop together, and you can literally get these anywhere. Amazon, Timo for a couple of quid. If you're at a decent hobby shop, they should have them. Yeah, I mean, there's all management of them you can get hold of. Now, one I bought when I started was this, made by Dragon Shield. This actually opens up, and it's essentially, you've got a dice tray in there, somewhere to hold all your dice. Yes, there's more dice in here. Your minis, your pens, papers. It will hold your player's handbook. It also, your character sheets. It also holds my tablet in, and there's like a plastic bit that doubles up as a whiteboard, so you can put like a sheet of paper for when you get white marker pen with it. Anyway, but these are really good. Unfortunately, this one's getting on a bit and is a bit battered. You get me in loads of different colours. They do dice box as well. I mean, Dragon Shield do a lot of accessories for that sort of stuff. So yeah. Now, depending on how your DM is running things, one of the things for like combat, when some DMs do theatre of the mind, so it's all, you're all imagine it. Me, I get battle maps out, so I mean, a lot of players like to make their own miniatures. So, you know, ye oldie fantasy wargamey type things. I mean, I'll give you an example. I mean, this isn't a D&D miniature. This is from Warhammer Quest, but you know, you get like a mini, you make it up, paint it up for your character. A lot of people go on Hero Forge, and you can basically customize and make your miniature to how you want it for your character, which is quite cool. But then it gets a bit crazy on the 3D printing of the models and that, and I've had to do quite a lot of them over the years. So, you want to be a DM, you want to play God. Well, here's a list of what I believe to be some of the essentials you are going to need to be a DM. So, first up, we have the Dungeon Master's Guide and the Monster Manual. The DM's Guide essentially gives you everything listed in there you need to refer to. I mean, I have found that the DM's Guide for 5e is essentially a guide. I've referred to it numerous times when I've needed to, but a lot of the time I have literally just made it up on the fly. I'm not even joking, a lot of DMs do it, you literally make this stuff up as you go. The Monster Manual, on the other hand, though, is essential. You will need this for your stat blocks for monsters, creatures, NPCs within a campaign you are playing, be it homebrew or a actual D&D campaign module, of which I have many. What might 2 now? 7. There's a lot there. So they are needed. They are pretty essential on that one. Next up on my list, I find an invaluable tool. Even as a player as well, if you need to look something up, it's a website called 5e Tools. Literally, it is a website repository of every single 5e book out there, and it's literally just a mass encyclopedia of knowledge for D&D, and it has become invaluable on things. When I've been there, I've been planning like the next session coming up, and campaign books in my car, in my bag, and it's like, oh, just get 5e Tools up, get the campaign book, right, what am I doing? Okay, right, I'm planning this, and go through there. As a player, you can go on there, view the player's handbook, view all the subclasses, from everything from Tasha's, Xanthars, everything that has ever been created is on there, and it is literally an invaluable resource that you will need. You have apps out there for being a player, so your Fight Club and your D&D Beyond for creating your characters and all that. But what is there being a DM? Now, the same people that made Fight Club have an app called Game Master, which I use and is really good because basically you create your campaign adventures on there, and I literally use it. I will set it up beforehand. Any encounters they are likely to come across for combat and things like that, and essentially I use it as an initiative tracker. So I have loaded in there what NPCs are going to encounter. I've got all the players in the campaign, all their stats are on there, loaded in there, and then I literally just load up the encounter. Everyone rolls initiative, put the initiative in, does your initiative order for you, any bonuses are added, and you've got all your stat blocks literally there, right there in front of you for the NPCs they're fighting. So you just like quickly, right, okay, yep, yep, okay, you're attacking that one, do the damage, that creature, whatnot is dead, delete them out, combat's ended, end the encounter, job done. No pen and paper, no taking up space trying to write things and keep things down. It's just like, okay, right, you do this, okay, right, yeah. And of course, you're not then having to go for the monster manual to find the stat blocks and bookmark things and all that. It's all there in front of you. Again, like Fight Club, it is free, and you have to install a compendium into it. Again, get that from the same place. But on the free version, you can only have one campaign at a time on there. But again, like Fight Club, it's like £2 to pay for the full version, and you can have unlimited campaigns on there. I mean, I've got quite a few on there set up ready to go that I've come across for campaigns I want to run. Now, this one is possibly a controversial one, but I'm not amazingly good at putting things down. And I like to be able to bounce ideas around and come up with things, and I have found that ChatGPT is actually brilliant for doing stuff for D&D. There's been times I've had to come up with encounters and roleplay scenarios where, as it's always inevitable in any campaign you're running, the party derail from the main campaign and derail things. So I had it where party derailed massively from the track of the campaign, and I had to come up with something to work through to then bring things back onto the rail without literally railroading them straight back on. So obviously that ended up in a situation, things happened, their actions had consequences, the consequences were dealt with, and then things eventually going back. It was like a whole nearly 2 weeks, 2 sessions worth of getting them back on track, but I had to come up with a whole thing for it. I mean, and essentially I came up with a rough idea on the fly, and then before the next session I sat down and ChatGPT, right, this is what's happening, give me a scenario, and then ChatGPT would then I'd throw something back at me, I'd look at it, right, no, don't like that, change this, change that, and eventually back and forth for a couple of hours until I end up with something that I like. And I've used it numerous times for things. I mean, I did a Halloween one-shot, which was essentially based on Friday the 13th. So ChatGPT helped me come up with all the stat blocks for Jason, make it quite a formidable encounter, roleplay scenarios. I mean, I charts to roll every time they move somewhere to see where he is, or where his mum is as well, because she was in there, and basically the whole way of them to defeat Jason, and it worked out pretty well. Didn't finish the encounter because we ran out of time in the session, but yeah, I believe people did enjoy it. But yeah, no, ChatGPT I find a good one to bounce ideas around and come up with something solid. Next is more books. You can never have too many books. Well, you say you can, you can't, but it is always a good idea to have the books for when you're playing a session, especially if you're in person. So you've got the books there to refer to. Your players aren't always going to know everything, so I've always got Xanathar's, Tasha's and the player's handbook to hand for them to check things up if they need to. Those that use Fight Club can check them, or that people just Google things if need be, but having the books there to go through does help. Of course, there are lots and lots of books. I mean, I've got so many campaigns, plus the Essentials, Tasha's, Xanathar's, Volo's Guide to Monsters. There are more I want to get, but we'll get there when we get there. But yeah, it's good to have these things on hand for reference. I mean, I don't take all of that whopping great pile with me whenever I play. It's literally just a campaign, but DM's Guide, Monster Manual, Player's Handbook, Volos, Tashas, Amphars, those ones with me because they're the main ones that are needed for reference. So always got those with me. Next up, of course, you need dice. But as a DM, you will find that you'll need more dice than you would like to think you will need. So, I mean, if you're running like combat and there's like 10 NPCs involved in that, you've got to roll initiative for all of them. You don't be rolling one dice in one D20 over and over and over again. You know, it's easy just to grab 10 D20s, boom, done. There's your initiative order. But then again, Game Master does sort all that out for you anyway, so you don't have to roll the dice. It sorts the initiative out for you anyway. But you do need a lot of dice, especially when you get later on through campaigns and you're rolling serious amounts of damage. But then again, never have too many dice. Of course, as a DM, you can't just be doing all this willy-nilly in the open where the players can see everything that's happening. You need a DM screen. Hide behind, so the mystery is there. They don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Some people do try to have a sneaky peek behind the DM screen when you're not looking, but you're God essentially. They face the wrath. So, but yeah, no, you can buy DM screens easy enough. I mean, you can buy official ones, which is just fold out cardboard things you plonk there. Lots of rules references on the back of it, which is always handy. There's lots of fancy bespoke ones out there you can spend stupid money on. Me, on the other hand, I made one. I had an old cardboard DM screen, which I cut up in a bit, so I got some plywood, a bit of pine batting, cut, assemble, put it together, hinged it all up so that comes out, folds out. I've even got a tray that pops out of it to roll the dice in, and the rules references from an old cardboard DM screen, I think it's from the Essentials kit, is glued inside so you can see everything. So this is the one I made. It opens up like so, and you can see I've got like my rules references in there, and this bit pops out as a dice tray and more rules in there, and that is also where I keep my deck of many things, which I did start using in the last campaign I was running to make things interesting, where a player would be selected at random to pick a card from the deck of many things and see what chaos ensues that night, just to make things more interesting. I mean, it's up to you to do that, but the deck of many things is notorious for killing campaigns and players off very easily, so not necessarily recommend, but you know, it's entirely up to you on that one. But yeah, that's DM screens. I mean, I like that because it's customized, personalized to myself. My previous one, which was more of a premium cardboard one, lots of post-it notes stuck on the other side as notes for players and stuff like that, so remember, because people don't always remember everything. But you know, your DM screen is yours and you make it what you want it to be, really. So another essential one, you've got to keep track of everything that is going on. So you will need note-taking facilities, pen, paper, whatnot. I've moved away from pen and paper now, and I've got my tablet which has a stylus pen on it, and I can take notes on that when I need to. Also built into Game Master, there is note facilities to put in there, so you can put notes in, right, this happened, these guys are doing this, whatnot. So, but yeah, if you're not using anything like that, notepad and pen, or whatever you feel comfortable with using, really. Now for me, this is something I use quite a lot. I don't tend to do combat as theatre of the mind unless it's a quick thing just to get through quickly. Then I will. But battle maps. So I've got a set. This Path tabletop gaming set. It's about 30 quid, and you get, I think it's 3 double-sided fold out essentially whiteboard maps with grids already on there, and it comes with whiteboard markers, rubber and all that in the set as well for 30 quid. It's bloody good actually. It's been invaluable, apart from the fact where you got to sit there for hours sometimes drawing the maps out on there so people can see where they are, what's what. But yeah, no, they've been really good, really handy, because people are getting the minis out, moving around and all that, rather than just, yeah, this is what happens, you do this, and people are trying to imagine it, whereas it makes it a lot easier. So, but people generally know something's going to happen when there's a battle map on the table ready to go, drawn out, and they're like, oh crap, what are we doing now? So, in summary of all this, I have basically listed you what I believe to be the essentials you need as a player for Dungeons and Dragons, and the basic tools you need, combined with, if you a dungeon master, what I feel are the essentials you need to be able to run a campaign. And some people might say differently. Everyone has their own preferences. That's perfectly fine. I mean, essentially the way Dungeons and Dragons works, you can do what you want. You make it what you want. That's the beauty of it. There's no limit to what you can and can't do, and it's up to you how you do this. So yeah, hopefully this has been informative and helpful for you. I do plan on doing more videos about D&D. I want to get some people in on our Discord chats and talk about their experiences and their advice on for new players and things like that, so you can hear other people's views and opinions on Dungeons and Dragons and what it is for them, and talk about stupid things that have happened, because it happens a lot. It's no fun if it's just a serious game. You've got to have a laugh playing it. So, but yeah, well, that is it from me. Hopefully for the next video I should actually be able to hopefully get Martin, and we can talk about his D&D experiences and see what he's got to say about it. But yeah, that's it for now. Until the next one.